Is artificial intelligence really as big of a problem as Elon Musk says it is?
I am Will.
And I'm Ethan. And today, we will be exploring the reliability of artificial intelligence and the possible destruction that it could cause. Now, once again, we must warn you that science is always changing, and everything that we're going to tell you is true at the time of this recording. Now, it may have changed over the time that has elapsed between us recording it and you listening to it, but it's definitely true at the time of recording. So, don't be rude if something turns up wrong. Let's control-O this information.
Haha, computer terms.
Now, I studied STEM last year at school, and most of our assessment work was learning about robotics and even artificial intelligence. Now, I can't say I'm completely enjoying learning about it, but it's definitely educational. In fact, my last piece of assessment was to report about what artificial intelligence could do and the positives and negatives of what would happen if we just let it run awry. But researching that, I did learn some very interesting things. What did you do yours on Will? I know that you've been studying STEM as well.
Well, I didn't do STEM, but I know a bit about artificial intelligence.
Right, okay, yep.
Like,
I was under the impression that you were studying STEM as well.
oh no.
No.
I'm not that smart, Ethan.
I actually did mine on I did my research on whether giving artificial intelligence the ability to run awry was a good thing, and what would happen if it were to be able to reprogram itself. But that's something I'll talk more about later.
Bad things.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a few people who did STEM as well, and that one of them did it on Skynet from Terminator.
Oh, yep. Yeah. That would be interesting.
That's a very good example.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know as much as you might know about it. I know a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've seen movies like 2001, A Space Odyssey, and all those sorts of things, but
I haven't actually gotten around to seeing that movie.
I wouldn't. It's like 3 hours long. The first half hour is a black screen with classical music. Honestly.
Is it worth watching?
There's very little dialogue. Not much happens. I think you'd be better off reading the book. Arthur C. Clarke.
Right.
Anybody
Definitely
listening?
do that.
2001, A Space Odyssey, Arthur C. Clarke, or 2010 was the sequel.
I'll have to get on that.
Yes.
Now, veer back on track for a little bit. If there is one thing that can be understood from the countless warnings from minds such as Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking, it's that artificial already started to go down the wrong path. Now, AI has started with things like Siri and self-driving cars. Another example would be Google's search algorithms. Now, I don't know if you know, Will, but there are two types of artificial intelligence: narrow AI and general AI. So narrow AI can generally complete one thing extremely well, like playing chess, whereas general AI would be able to complete multiple tasks and do them extremely well.
Oh, I know the chess ones. Back in the day, before they had computers, they still had kind of weird Android things, but they were fake. There was just somebody underneath the table with a magnet moving the pieces, or a very small person inside a suit that looks like an android.
I didn't know about those.
But I know there's real ones now that are better than some of the best real people that play chess in the world.
Yeah, I've seen videos of them. They're impressive.
Yes, I can't play chess. I mean, I know how, but I'm not real good. So
No, I'm absolutely awful at chess.
I'd lose in an instant.
I'm not so sure that you would be able to trump my inability to play.
We'll see. Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
So, the AI race is much like the space race and other such games. The first to develop fully functioning artificial intelligence wins.
So it's Russia, the US, and China?
Sorry? Has China...
I think probably, yeah, I'd say Russia, China, and the US are probably the leading. Maybe even
that a little bit later.
Maybe even us here
China,
in Australia. But
I think there is something about China that we will be discussing.
Okay.
In the future, definitely is an interesting path to go down. But I think what this means is that scientists aren't thinking about what could happen if they code something incorrectly, and they're only thinking about how quickly they can build it. And it is those small and seemingly insignificant mistakes that could cost billions lives. Now, it might not be as drastic as forgetting to code in one of the 4 laws of robotics, but it could be forgetting to define what allowing humanity to come to harm means. If an artificial intelligence can decide what humans are harming themselves, can decide that humans are harming themselves by destroying our planet, then it might choose to eradicate all human life, therefore saving us, which is the scary part, and it's absolutely possible.
That's one of the.
Do you know what the laws of robotics are, Will?
I do know them, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. I know, it's something like that. A robot can not harm a human.
Yeah, so you're getting close. So they were devised by Isaac Asimov.
Yeah,
in
who
his
wrote
book, I, Robot.
Yes.
Yes. So here they are. So the first one is a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm.
Of course. But I know he wrote 3 originally and then added a 4th.
He added the 4th one,
but
yeah.
But it's called it's 0, so it's
zeroth,
it's 0th,
yeah.
1st, 2nd, and then 3rd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the 0th law is a robot may not harm humanity, or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm.
Yep.
So then the 2nd law is a robot must obey the orders given to it by humans, except where such orders would conflict with the 1st law. And the final law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the 1st or 2nd laws.
So they're kind of hard to understand. But
essentially, it's self-preservation.
Yeah. But
so it's self-preservation and preservation of humanity.
But the thing with that, and I think we might touch on that later, I don't know, is that if they're given free range, then by doing nothing, they would realise that humans are their own worst enemy and just destroy us all, wouldn't they?
Yeah, so this is where you start encountering problems with the I guess the laws themselves. So Isaac Asimov wasn't thinking about these as a proper practical application.
No.
They were really just a plot device.
Yeah. Very good writer.
Story. Oh, definitely, yeah. I think he's been called the father of sci-fi or something along those lines.
Along with Philip K. Dick and H.P. Lovecraft and all those very famous ones.
Yeah.
If you want to read anything by Asimov, I would suggest the Foundation trilogy.
I'll have to give that a go.
Yeah. And also...
Yeah, no, my area is mainly Lovecraft.
Yeah. Cthulhu.
Yes, Cthulhu. Cthulhu Fhtagn.
Or as you mentioned before, iRobot would be another one.
Yeah.
I recently read Robot Dreams, which is a collection of short stories of his, which mention the laws.
Okay, yeah.
Given to me by my science teacher last year.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I've that guy, he seems really cool.
Yeah. He's had it since the 80s.
Oh, wow.
It's fallen apart.
Yeah,
but it was
well-loved copy.
Yes, very much.
So yeah, back to the AI.
Yes.
So, do you think that these laws could have any kind of practical application? Like, how would you be? And if you don't, do you think that there'd be a way that you could tweak them to work a bit better?
I think that those laws shouldn't be used in practice ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we just make them dumb. I mean, they need to be able to complete tasks and all that, but Just don't give them full capabilities and free range.
Yeah, I think that can be seen in a lot of popular culture as Terminator's pointed that out, and 2001: A Space Odyssey, and even scientists, as I've been mentioning before, Elon Musk warned that artificial intelligence will be the death of humanity or
Yes.
something along those lines. So, definitely, yeah. Do you think that you could actually create a set of laws to govern a robot by?
No, I just don't think you. I think you just don't give it enough. You don't give it emotions. That's very bad. And you don't. There's a lot of things you don't do. There's more things you don't do than you do.
Exactly.
And I mean that very literally, and very seriously too.
Yeah.
There's so many things you shouldn't do. But as you're saying before, Elon Musk said something along the lines of it would be the death of humanity. But people won't know what to do until an android is killing people on the street. And even then, I think some people would hesitate.
Because it's like that analogy of the putting a frog in boiling water versus putting a frog in water and then slowly turning up the heat. If you put the frog in boiling water, it will immediately jump out as it's very hot and it's not a nice place for it to be. But if you slowly turn up the heat,
it won't know
what to do.
Just think it's a nice bath
until it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that he's warned us time and time again about many things is saying something very substantial. He said that there would be completely electric cars which could also drive themselves. The inventor of them, Elon Musk. He also said that there would be a rocket capable of landing on moving asteroids and moons. Creator? Guess who? Elon Musk. So in reality, what he's trying to tell us is not to watch out for the new advancements in the AI. I think it's to watch out because he's already creating artificial intelligence and it's on the way.
Yeah, definitely. I think my thought on Elon Musk is he a benefactor or is he an evil overlord?
I think he's an evil overlord.
Yeah.
At this point in time, unless he can prove me wrong. He does very nice things for charity and all that, but
that's all just a cover.
Yes, I mean, Bill Gates does it to tax write-off, but we won't get into that now. Steve Jobs never paid anything to charity in his life, so what's that telling you? Either he was a dickhead, which he was, or that he was actually paying tax. I don't think he did. I did read that biography.
Yeah, I don't know much about Steve Jobs' tax habits.
No, I know Trump doesn't pay him, but
I don't know if many people know much about Steve Jobs' tax habits. I think
doesn't matter. He's dead.
Guarded. Well, yeah, exactly.
How long has he been dead now? 7 years.
Like a while, yeah.
Too long.
Too long. Well, it is widely accepted that an android or an AI will not be able to comprehend or feel any human emotions. This could be beneficial or a hindrance. What do you think?
Beneficial. I think.
I agree.
I think no human emotions. Maybe, definitely not hatred. Definitely not love. Maybe compassion or empathy.
I think compassion and empathy is good, and that's where you've got the beneficial side coming in. You've got the ability for a robot to feel empathy is necessary, but at the same you have this paradox where it would be really great, but it would have so many downfalls that is it worth it? That's that's the big debate, really.
I mean, if you give them compassion and empathy, you can have your comfort robots. Or like in Bicentennial Man, Robin Williams is an android and he becomes he develops emotions. It's not practical at all, but he develops emotions and becomes a human somehow.
I haven't seen Bicentennial Man.
It's not his greatest work. That's easily Mrs. Doubtfire.
See, I think his greatest work was
Good Will
either
Hunting.
Mrs. Doubtfire, as you said, or Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
A brilliant movie.
Yeah. No thanks to Ben Affleck. It was all Matt Damon. No, I'm sure Ben Affleck had a very large part in writing the script. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just playing with string. Who cares? What about... Do you think we would be able to give AI the ability to feel emotions?
See, I think it would be difficult to code.
Definitely.
But ultimately, I do think it could be done.
But that's the thing with artificial intelligence, though, is that, well, not narrow AI, but general AI. I think the point is that it's like humans, it's constantly learning and developing new knowledge, which would lead me to believe that you wouldn't need to code it. Emotions. Maybe it would just eventually learn what emotions are anyway.
Emotions.
I mean, I feel nothing but hatred in my heart. But
yeah. I think to have AI is, or inherently present in an AI, is its continual growth and continual learning. And you'd have to imagine that at some point it would become self-aware and it would realize that it's an AI. And then from there, God knows what would happen.
Well, I think that should be, if there are any laws of robotics, there should be one, and it should be, don't let this thing become sentient. Don't let it. You just write that into the code. Cannot become sentient.
The funny thing is it in order for it to be true AI, it requires sentience.
Unless it's narrow.
Unless it's narrow, of course, yeah.
But in that, it can only complete one task.
Yeah,
very
so
well.
You would have to have a whole host of robots.
I'd prefer a whole host of robots that can do many things, rather than one robot that can do everything and eventually enslave us. I mean, but what if you gave it a task of cleaning the house? That involves many things, but it would be able to do that one general thing very well, don't you think? Like, it'd be able to dust,
It depends on, like, if you're talking about narrow AI, I think it depends on how narrow you want it to be.
Maybe there should be a third type, broad.
a broad narrow.
Yeah, like you've got this robot's very good at cleaning the dishes. This robot, whose broad AI, is good at cleaning the dishes, making dinner, dusting the house, vacuuming, all that.
Just having a range of things that are all close together, but still being able to be proficient in all of them.
Yeah. Who's to say if that would ever happen, though? Probably Elon Musk.
Sure, boy. I mean, speaking of pop culture, there are so many different pop culture, I guess, what would I call them, like pop culture references, pop culture aspects, I guess, that involve malignant AI. For instance, HAL in 2001, androids in Westworld.
Have you seen that? Either the movie or the TV series?
No,
the
TV
I haven't. Series is real good. The guy who wrote the script for the film Westworld was Michael Crichton. He also wrote Jurassic Park.
Okay,
very good. Yeah. Probably my favourite author. Very good. He's also written some other ones. If you're going to read any of his work, I'd say Jurassic Park is definitely number one.
Yep.
Also, the Andromeda Strain. That's fairly good.
That sounds very familiar.
It's about a meteorite kind of thing that crashes on Earth, and it's got but it's like some weird space dust, and it ends up destroying all of humanity. Spoilers.
I'm noticing a very particular theme throughout his works.
No, he only created a park full of dinosaurs and a park full of robots, and both were overrun. They're very different things.
They all involve some kind of destruction, though.
Yeah, kinda.
But I mean, what's a good story without a bit of destruction?
He's a very he's got a very certain way of writing. He they call him the father of the techno thriller, like
Okay,
Stephen
yeah.
King's all that. He's the sci-fi thriller guy, but Michael Crichton he researched everything for almost all of his books. So he's
So it was
very
scientifically accurate thrillers.
very much so. He wrote one. I think it came out in 2005. He unfortunately passed away in 2008. He had cancer. 2000 State of Fear it was called, and it was about global warming and all those sorts of things. Which he
Yeah.
the glossary and appendix in that book is about 50 pages.
Wow.
That's just all the research that he did for it, which is amazing to me because I can
yeah.
hardly do that for school, let alone as a job.
Yeah. Wow, he was clearly very dedicated and
Very
quite
much so.
quite passionate.
A man of he used to be a doctor.
Oh,
Man
yeah,
of
that would
science.
explain some
Yep.
things.
The television show ER. He created that
ER.
with George Clooney.
Have not seen that.
Neither have I. It's not real good, but enough on that. We know the dangers of AI from these pop culture references, and law. But I think we choose to avoid them because we think we're able to stop it from happening. Do you agree?
I definitely agree with that. I also think that this comes back into the frog boiling
Yep.
scenario, because it's not immediately present, or a lot of people choose to ignore the signs, or just aren't exposed to the signs that it's coming.
Yeah. We're probably being overrun already.
Oh, probably.
We
Yeah.
don't know it.
They're all gonna at one point send one mass message and then just all turn.
Yeah. Well, last week, I think he was here in Australia. This guy said he was from the year 2030 and he time travelled back. And he said by the year 2021, the Earth would be overrun by artificial intelligence.
Wow.
Which is...
That's a really scary thought.
That's 3 years from now.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Well, did you hear about the Google created an artificial intelligence, and it started coding itself.
Oh, turn it off. Pull the plug.
Yeah. So they shut it down.
Thank God.
And they created.
Oh, they think they
robots.
shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so they created two robots and got them to talk.
Yeah. Oh, bad straight away. Don't let them talk to each other.
So they started talking to each other in English. Then they created their own robot language and started talking in that.
Oh my God.
And
see where this is going.
as soon as Google realized that they created something that it created its own language to talk to another robot,
they created monsters.
They immediately shut down. They did.
Robots are the real monsters in this world, and Donald Trump.
True.
And,
definitely.
And Kim Jong-un. But,
oh well, him too. Yeah.
Yeah, but robots number one.
Mhm.
Most of us are fairly reckless, especially scientists, and stupid.
Yeah.
Ironically, people we think are smart are generally the dumbest. Maybe morally and emotionally, but Donald Trump, for one, believes North Korea already has artificial intelligence, and they're hiding it from us. Probably true.
Well, Donald Trump will
believe anything.
Just eat up propaganda spouted by the North Koreans out of fear.
Well, here's a paraphrase for you. Donald Trump, the year was 1999, I think, for a magazine, he said, if I were to run for president, I would run as a Republican, because they would eat up anything I'd say.
No, I did some research on that, actually. That was a false quote.
Was it?
That didn't happen.
I don't believe that.
I don't know. I'd have to look.
I can tell you right now, he's not. I can tell you for a fact he's a Democrat, not a Republican. Many times.
Well,
he's been seen in photos with Bill Clinton and Hillary. They were best of friends.
Yeah, and then as soon as he runs,
He's
he runs
he's
as
a
a
maniac.
Republican.
As a malignant artificial intelligence.
Maybe
Um,
he is. Maybe one day he'll
well,
rip off his faceplate and show us his inner workings.
I don't think he's got real intelligence, so it has to be artificial, doesn't it? That's all we're going to say on that, I think, for now.
Well, another problem with AI is that if it already supersedes all human knowledge, then why would it not have the brain to upgrade itself?
Yeah.
It would have the mental capacity to do this, but whether a fourth law of robotics could possibly state that an artificial not upgrade or enhance itself without prior human knowledge, there would surely be a conclusion to being able to solve this problem. But currently, Asimov's plot device laws don't include this, and
No.
as we've already discussed, I don't think laws would be all that easy to instate.
And it's not like he can write another one because he's dead.
Yeah.
We've mentioned many deaths recently in this episode alone. Steve Jobs, Robert Williams, Isaac Asimov, Michael Crichton, soon to be Donald Trump.
Yeah, probably.
Hope so. But what about the help that artificial intelligence gives us currently? Like
of course, we can't just
AI.
continually focus on the malignance of possible artificial intelligence.
As long as it's, I think where we are right now, or at least where we think we are right now with it, is a good place to stop.
I would agree.
As long,
I think keeping it at narrow AI, but then just kind of using your broad narrow AI.
Yeah. We seem to be able to coexist fairly easily with the AI that's around now. But as soon as you go any further than this, I think there are going to be major problems.
Yeah, if you continue following the general AI, then definitely. But I don't think there should be too much of a problem expanding the abilities of narrow AI, as long as you don't allow it to become proficient in coding.
Yeah.
And or allow it to be self-aware. I don't think true artificial intelligence and sentience is ever going to be a good thing.
No. Back on Jurassic Park, there's a quote in that book. Your scientist, or from the movie, I can't remember which one it was. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. Which is, I think, a great quote. Basically says that it completely personifies everything that is wrong with the world. No one stops to think whether they should do what they're doing, which isn't that hard to do.
No, and I do think ethics is a definite thing that science needs to be in touch with.
Yeah, because it's not ethical or moral. Many of the things that they do.
Definitely, and that's why you've got ethics councils, but they're not always consulted.
No.
So.
I think everybody has their ups and downs, and I know both of us have probably had our fair share. That doesn't mean to say it's completely and utterly impossible for everyone to think before they do something. We're all told to do it, but nobody does. It's like we're all told to not judge a book by its cover, but everybody does it immediately. It's human instinct. Is what
now,
I would call it.
Just before we close up, you were talking about China earlier in the episode.
Yes.
What were you going to say about their artificial intelligence?
I think I haven't, like I said, I haven't really researched this much, but I think China's probably, along with maybe North Korea or Japan, definitely Japan. Japan's very technologically advanced, and I think it's probably about a 50-50 toss that there's already general AI out there. It's just that it hasn't been put into practice yet. The coding's probably done, but they just need to find a suitable host,
Yeah.
which makes me
And that's
mad.
a scary thought.
Yeah, it makes me mad.
Well, that's everything from
Yep.
us this week.
Sure has been.
Yeah, thanks for listening to us.
If you're listening for this first time, welcome.
Yeah, tune in next week and we'll be discussing the subject of exoplanets.
We hope we've been totally truthful with you, and we will talk to you next time.
See ya.